Okay, we're back in the year of 1884. This is Tazlon, and we're on the Billion Dollar Baby series of Transport Fever, where we're trying to make $1 billion in hard mode before the year 2000. And I'm getting ready. I'm really in a great position. If you've been following, I'm up to $5.64 million. My last 3 years, I generated 1.23, 1.88, and $1.69 million. So I'm averaging pretty much $1.5 million a year. And while that's really great for starting out, it is not going to get me to a billion. 5.664 in the bank. As I've already said, you got to spend money to make money. What's in your bank doesn't help you earn more. You don't get interest, and even that wouldn't let me get to a billion. So for now, I have to take the money I'm making and invest it, expand my rail network and distribution network, manufacturing network, and get more product out there being delivered to towns, and keep boosting income until I know I'm going to hit a billion. And at that point, if I want to, I can kick back and watch it happen. Or I can continue to build and see how big I can make it. Now, everything's in sync with everything. Everything's running fine. I'm making a lot of money. I have to take the next step. If you remember, when I built this refinery, I double-tracked the station, thinking that I was going to have this oil well come up and add into here and come back down here and serve Norfolk. I'm very interested in Norfolk for something I'll talk about in just a second. But I noticed there's another refinery right here. I can bypass this refinery, have my line come up here, and generate just a little bit more income. In that case, I don't need the second track. I thought about bringing this oil over here, but there's a fairly decent grade, actually a pretty good grade right here that's going to slow my train down. And there also just happens to be another refinery down here, nothing more really down this way that I could use as a refinery. And so if I wanted to, when I get to this point, I will probably have this oil well come down this way and back and service Montgomery, or later on in the game I may want to make an even longer route and find another refinery for it to go to. But either way, right now it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for my next step to be bringing oil here or oil here, because check this out. I just stumbled across this a little bit ago while I was perusing the map. I have a refinery down here right in the middle of this valley between the mountains. Pretty steep valley. However, there's this nice convenient pass coming out of the valley with a fairly gentle grade. And so I can take that oil well out of Norfolk, maybe just cut a little shortcut through the edge of this ridge here, and maybe dig a tunnel. I don't know. I'll either wrap around or dig a short tunnel, come down here, come down the valley, and I'll have a nice long route that's running full capacity both ways, delivering fuel to Norfolk. That's exactly what I want. And whether you know it or not, Transport Fever in hard mode is a sexual allegory. The key to success in Transport Fever is a sexual allegory, and I'll explain that. Think back to old movies. Okay, if you like this Wild West 1850, you probably have watched westerns at some point in your life. The old black and white western where the good guys wore white and the bad guys wore black. A lot back in those days, and even if it was just dramatic films that weren't associated with westerns, back in those days the Hollywood censors didn't let movies portray sex or even refer to sex in any way. They would censor it out of the film if they dared even try to do it, put it on screen. So one of the common devices producers used to get around that was they used trains. At the end of the movie, you had the hero having just saved the day and won the eternal love of whichever leading actress fell for him and he was interested in. They'd show them huddled together making some little snarky comments, and then as the movie ended, there would be a fadeaway scene where a train went into a tunnel and maybe emerged out the other side, blowing blast of steam and whistling, and the obvious connotation was sex to climax. And while the connotation was obvious enough that everybody knew what it meant when they did it. It was also oblique enough that the censors would let it ride and keep it in the movie. And so trains became associated with sex in that way because of Hollywood. Well, transport fever's a lot the same. In order to succeed in hard mode, you want your lines to be full, fast, big, and long. You follow those 4 rules, you will have a successful train line. And while that may require you to go back to your middle school or early high school days in order to understand exactly what I just said, everybody who's in that age group already, just having gone through puberty, understands what I mean. Back in the days where all those rumors you heard about sex, you take at face value and think they're really true. Full, fast, big, and long. Keep your train lines like that in hard mode and you will succeed. And what I mean is full of cargo, fast trains moving at top speed as long as possible, big meaning lots of cargo, and long, obviously the longer the route the better. Caveat being you want to max that at about 20 miles. So is this going to be too long? That's my next step in the questioning process. My line 4 is 10 minutes using the 280 Baldwin. And so just visualize this. Line 4 is this long, okay? Pretty much the length of, a little bit less than the width of my screen. And there's some error of parallax involved here. But this is going to be under 20 minutes, especially when you consider I'm building this next route for the 260 the 260 Mogul. Faster train by 9 miles an hour. And this is well within the grasp of that train. Be able to get out and get back full both ways, long route, easy access for trucks into Norfolk. And I would guess, I don't really know, I'm totally guessing this, I would think that when I build this route eventually and get it up to speed, I'm going to be around 15 to 17 minutes, but I don't really know. Definitely be longer than 10, I think. And we'll just have to see how that goes. So that's something I'm going to build probably the next route after this one I'm doing this episode. And that is going to be, I found an oil well up here that's perfectly situated to come down to my refinery outside Virginia Beach, which all sand, but we're a beach. Well, I guess beaches have sand. We just forgot to include the ocean. The trouble with this is, because I have this track built, all I have to do is double track it, which is very inexpensive because the terrain modification's already been done to lay the original railroad grade bed. And it's just a matter of adding a track along beside it. You can do it quickly, cheaply, and so that makes this a very attractive addition to my empire. And the trouble with this is this grade coming out of the oil well. Now this is a valley. If you follow the contours, we know this is a hill or a mountain. Here's an even bigger one. And you go down and you don't see it starting to come back up. So you can just, if you study your contour lines, you know this is a valley and not a ridge. And so I'm going to have to climb up a pretty steep grade, but even worse, my terminal is going to be pointed this way, and the the program's not going to let me do it. It's going to say your train platform is trying to have compensate for too much terrain change. It won't let you do it, and I'll show that. Now, while I was gone, my wife teaches music in Dallas, and she called me at lunch, and I had lunch, and I also did some chores around the house, and I wanted to stop the game before it got to the mogul, because I want this all set up for when the mogul comes out. I can start with the introduction of the mogul here in 2 years or 1 year, and so I saved the game and exited it, and now I've reloaded the game for this segment. Everything resets to the default parameters. So I'm back to in passenger mode at 160. As always, check what you're building before you build it. I want to go back to cargo mode. I want to go back to 320 in this case because I really don't need to transport anything off the end of the world, and see how long it can fall. I'm just going to build a terminal station, and if I try to build it straight toward where I want it to go, it's not going to let me. Why? Because this single train platform is traversing over 20 meters of terrain change. For you people not playing in Europe, that comes out to approximately 66 feet. So there's more terrain change here than most likely, than a 3-story building. They're probably up to a real pretty decent 4-story building we're trying to compensate for. I really have to dig a hole down in the ground and it won't let me do it. So I have a couple options here. Either I don't do it, which is ridiculous. Of course I'm going to do it. We're building trains and we're building tracks. Who cares about the terrain? So I can get my terrain modifying tool out and basically dig a big ditch out here to level this out, and it'll let me build it. But then I'm stuck with with a huge, even tighter grade I have to climb out of, and it's probably going to want me to make a tunnel to climb up out of here. And there's really no reason to do that. If I wanted to build a lot of tunnels, I'd be playing Minecraft. But I want to build trains. And if anybody saw this, look at this again. If you looked at that and said, how the heck is that 20 meters of terrain? There's only 2 contours here, and we all know each contour is 10 meters, so you're really crossing 20. No, I'm not. I mean, really crossing 10. No, I'm not. I'm really crossing 20. Here's why. Look at where this station is. Now we know from here to here is 10 meters. There's no arguing that point. This is 10 meters. That's what these lines delineate, is 10 meters of change. So going from here to here is 10 meters of change. Going from here to here, same 10 meters, other way. Going from here to here is 10 meters of change. And my station went out to the halfway point. So it's fairly easy to interpolate. If I'm in the middle of a 10 meter change, I have about 5 meters of change that I've traversed. Same thing back here. This valley is not flat like a pancake all the way across it. This is going to continue going down and then rise up. How deep it really goes, we don't know. And I'm not halfway across it, but from here to here, probably somewhere between 3 and 5 meters of change. So overall, I have 10, 5 plus 3, that's 18 meters, so I say 20. Don't think that when you're in between contours, the terrain still changes. It's not like it magically goes up 10 here, magically goes down 10 here. It's a continual change. So either way, it's too much change over too little time, and it won't let me build my station. I don't want to dig a hole because it just makes matters worse farther upstream. I don't want to build a tunnel all the way up to here and pop out like a mole halfway to the next line I want to connect to, because it's very expensive. I have an easier way to do it. Not optimal, but easier, and that is to simply turn my station to the side, connect in here if it lets me, and now it's in my catchment area yet. I didn't go too far. I will be able to gradually turn and climb out of here until I'm where I want to be. Now, close up, it looks like I went way out of my way. If you look at the fact that I'm going to be joining what will become kind of like a mini main rail for oil and fuel, whether I go here, whether I go there, did I really change the direction of my route that much? No. Will it cost me a couple pennies? Maybe. Nothing I can do about it. But it also lets me negotiate this terrain change a little bit better, which means slightly faster trains. And there will be a little turn right here, but I bet overall building it this way with a slight curve and a more gradual terrain change rate of terrain change will be better for overall train speed than just building it this way and giving my train a pretty good chunk of terrain to climb all at once. So I'm going to build my train, my train line. Here comes my rail. There's no good way to do this, or cheap way to do it, I should say. It's going to cost me some money. That with so many texts right in a row. I have twin boys in high school, and they're each in band. One plays saxophone and one plays trombone. That most likely sounded like the band director sending out several texts about the upcoming football game this week, and and what all times they're going to be meeting, and what time to pick them up and stuff like that. Because he usually sends a bunch in a row. So now I'm up on top and coming over the ridge, and I can start hopefully saving a little money with my N and M buttons. I said I wasn't going to show you building track again, but in this case I had a little difficulty here that I wanted to show how to overcome, and I'm also going to have to add signals for the first time, so I wanted to show that. I'll come into the side. I do not have to hook up to here. Absolutely no reason to hook up to here. I don't need the train here to go this way, and there's no sense converting this to a pass-through station and just having trains wait for each other. I'm just going to come down the side of it, come underneath the bridge here, and then connect to the existing line. Along the way, I'll probably move the depot. Let's see. I may be able to squeeze that in to where he can serve both lines. We'll build this first and then see if I can connect it smoothly. If I can, fine. If I can't, I don't care. It doesn't cost that much to move a depot. At this point in the game, it really doesn't impact me much. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to get rid of it now. I'll just move it, and I'll build it in a little bit farther downstream after I double up my line, and I'll be able to serve both of these lines when I add more trains to them. It'll be able to do both. What am I doing? Okay, now I could join here and get an extra little turn in my train, but I don't need to. I'm going to try to make this as smooth as possible. Come out here. Oops, that's too far back. And just get one nice gentle turn to join up the track there. Now at this point, I'm going to have to start putting in signals, but let me double track everything the rest of the way, and then we'll come back and add signals. Doesn't matter which side I build the track to. I'm already past the only place I can really come close to a field. I may have an issue with this road right here. We'll see when I go over it. And it's not going to let me do it. Boy, it does this kind of stuff so often. Whenever you get a situation like this, just destroy the road. Still won't let me do it. Destroy the other side of the road. Don't destroy your track. I mean, it's easy to overcome, but it's just a little bit of waste of money. So I build my track. It didn't let me build the railroad over the road. So I destroy the road. I build the railroad. Now watch this. Usually it lets me build the road back. It may not in this case. Let's try it this way. Well, I want to do this road anyway. Okay, here's a case where it's not going to let me do it exactly, precisely the way I had it before. A lot of the times it lets you build it back exactly the same way the road was. I'll just make this smoother in case I ever have to bring trucks down it. Okay. Whenever it doesn't let you build across the road, just destroy the road. Roads aren't expensive. Build your track. Reconnect the road so the natives aren't mad at you for destroying their precious roads, and move on. In that case, because it was a perpendicular type thing, it let me go right over it, no trouble. There's the existing train that's going to be sharing this route with its new friend. If they catch up to each other rather soon, I'll just have to upgrade that train to a mogul too. Otherwise, there's no sense having a mogul. It's the same thing as with the trucks. If my mogul's constantly being slowed down by my Baldwin, I may as well not have the mogul. Now, when you get to the end here, I don't need to build on this line. It doesn't matter. instead of sometimes if you try to build in, you misgauge and you build it too close, and then it says there's curvatures issues and it doesn't let you connect into your station. When you get close, just simply build out from your station. That didn't build right. Just make sure it starts off smoothly. And there we go. Now we have to add signals. We have our train built, our railroad built. So we have to start putting in signals. So our two trains don't sit there and watch each other for long periods of time clear these giant blocks of track. I want to build my blocks long enough to let a 15-car train go in between, or they aren't 15 cars to start with. It's just a matter of how many times do you want to click signals as opposed to how close do you want to put them together. I could like put them every 10 meters and the trains may stop once in a while, but they just keep inching down the track as they chased one another. That's a little bit of overkill. With only two trains, they probably aren't going to be nudging up against each other very often, so I don't have to build them too close. At the same time, I don't want huge distances of track where the second train is going to have to wait on the first one to clear. So just a moderate distance between them, generally a little bit longer than the length of the longest train you'll have on the track will suffice. Definitely want to put some signals here in close. Over here where it's single track, I have to put signals both ways. And later on, when you get more complex interchanges, you're going to want to make sure that you don't stop a train here so that it backs up and covers up this route, so this train gets stuck and this train gets stuck, and there's another train up here that can't get out this way because there's trains blocking all the intersections. With only two trains on a simple crossover, that situation won't arise, so I don't really have to worry about putting like in this case, the signal on the right side of the track that if it stops there, the cargo cars are going to come back here over the interchange. That's not going to hurt me right now. If I had a couple of different lines and more trains, that could conceivably cause a situation where I'm causing a stalemate and trains are sitting there all waiting for another train to clear the track so they can move, but no train ultimately being able to move, and it shuts down that whole section of transport. Whatever other lines are connected, everything comes to a screeching halt, and it really hurts you financially. The other thing is, since I'm going to have one train over here, a separate distinct train over here, I don't need to put signals down farther along either of these routes for now, because there's only going to be one train on each separate section of track there, so it doesn't matter. So I have my train built, my train line built. I need to add a depot back in, and I want it to go towards the resource center. So I'll just put it right here. If it lets me, I'll just put it just like this. And he will come out. Hopefully get over here. And blend in with the track right there. So because I have it on this side of this junction, I can add a train to either track, and that will work out well. I'm not worried at this point in the game with trains coming back to the depot to upgrade just an engine at a time. Pretty much from this point out, when I upgrade an existing train, I'll do the entire train at once and do it with the replacement window. I won't have to send it back to the depot. So now I have one thing left to do, two things left to do. I have to build my truck route, and then I have to designate my lines, and then I can build my vehicles and trains and get all this up and running. So I know I'm going to have, let's see, freight station. I'm running into town this way. I want to draw cargo off the train station, don't care about the oil well. So I want to go as far this way as I can and still have the train station in my catchment area. Right there we go. Okay. Now looking at town, turn on cargo. Right now I'm bringing in fuel. Entirely conceivable at some point in the future I'll be bringing in some other product which may well want to go to commercial buildings. So since they're all clustered right here together, it should be simple to get most of them. Maybe not all of them, but I bet I can get most of them with one truck station. So we'll see if I can do that. Now remember I said it's cheaper to knock down residences than it is commercial buildings. So right now I have 4 options. I can go this way, I can go this way, or maybe to begin with I just want to try because there's already a little loop built right here. If I put it right here, nope, I'm going to miss out on too much. And my initial build is going to be focused on industry because I'm bringing back fuel, and I'm leaving some of the industry out over here. So while this is pretty enticing, not quite going to work out. If I build here, I can get everything. That's intriguing. If I build here, I can get everything for $358. Even more intriguing. Let's blow this up a little bit. Am I really getting everything? Yes, I am. Okay. Got everything but a couple industries right there. If I build a road this way, I may pick them up, I may not. But I have a couple industry over here. This will be close enough. One thing I did was, if you noticed, I left a little room between the station and the road, because as this city builds up, it's going to have a need for wider roads and bigger roads, and you want to give yourself a little bit of room for the roads to expand. So if I were to do this and build it right in close, because a lot of times if you move a little closer you can pick up a few more buildings, like right there. I picked up those last 2 buildings, but what happens? Buildings are going to be built right along the road there, and the city just lost its capacity to improve the roads and make bigger roads once we start getting traffic jams along this fairly narrow road. So you want to back up away from the road a little bit and give your city the ability to expand traffic capacity as your city grows and traffic increases. Now, with this here and coming straight down the main road through town from that direction, I can't really build a road out here and make anything more efficient. What I can do is prime the pump a little bit, destroy a building or 2 right here, cut over this way, and hopefully see some more industry generate right in here that can be easily serviced by my same train or truck station. And like I said earlier, I don't know if that works. I do it. Someday I will take the same city, save the game. Like I'll take this point, save it, continue forward, and see how Cleveland grows. If I have this little prime road here, or if I don't do it, where does everything generate then? Does this actually help? I don't know yet. I can't answer that. Haven't ever tested it. But for now I do it in hopes that it helps. So I have everything built. I have to designate my lines, define what those are. And my train line. I still have, let's see, I have the truck depot, or the train depot. I don't have a truck depot yet. I could probably take a long route and bring trucks over from Omaha. That's pretty far. Eventually I'm going to want buses, so I'm going to want a depot at this end too. So I just built a depot for no other reason than because this is simple right here. And build some of my cart teams, hire some cart teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 6 on line 3 and 9 on 9 on line 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go with that and see what happens. I'll be close. I may have to adjust it. I'm almost wanting to take one train and not buy it, or one truck. We'll stick with that and see what happens. Now I want to build my train. Oh, you know what? I don't yet because it's not available yet. Darn it. I should have waited to buy the trucks. I forgot that I wasn't quite ready for the mogul's not here yet. So I'm not going to sell the trucks. They're already there. They'll get going and already have demand established. Actually, so that's not real bad. I'll lose a little money doing that. I just forgot that I wasn't quite to the 260 mogul, or I would have waited to build my trucks until the mogul was available. So while we're waiting for the little bell to tell us that the mogul has come online, the next phase definitely is this. I do not want to pass this up. This is going to be too good. I'm going to earn several more $1 million and build this line down here and service Norfolk with fuel because it's such a big city. And then from there, let's see, I have a couple options. I can build this route. Let's see. I have another. Let's turn on terrain again. I may, if I make a lot of money just for shits and grins, even though I know I'm trying to get to $1 billion, I may dig a tunnel right through here just to say I did it, and use this farm or this food processing plant with this farm, and run that into either Virginia Beach or Anchorage, because that's a decent sized route. I don't know if I'm going to do that, just because I want to spend a lot of money on the tunnel, and I'm really trying to get to $1 billion. But at the same time, that's going to be a pretty profitable route because in the long run, I can really, as a matter of fact, I'm going to do it. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do it. I just made my decision. Because of the fact that this is equidistant between two towns, I'll build this rail, I'll double track it, have a double track tunnel, and I'll be able to run one train for Anchorage and one train for Virginia Beach. I'll have 2 trains running, service 2 towns, which will start the population growing, which will make my future bus line between these 2 towns and these towns. I'll be able to have buses running in a circle, and it's really going to work out well for me. And if I wanted to, I can probably even figure out a way to get food flowing into Norfolk there, but that'll probably be the next 2 lines I build. Just one because I like the distance on it and fuel, the other one because I like the fact that I get to build a tunnel and service 2 towns with it. There's my beep, and there's my 260 mogul. Time to build my train. I have 4.02 million. Now let's look at capacity. I'm running 90%. This varies between 90 and 95 on fuel with a demand of 50. And let's see, that's line 4. With the Toyota Baldwin, he has 7 cars. And he could probably add he could probably run 8 cars and really sync up with Omaha's demand right now. I have a slightly longer, actually, I have a longer route. I'm going to have a faster train in the 260 mogul. And I have a demand of 51, which is almost the same. So I'm going to run either 8 or 9 cars. Let's see if I get limited by cost. I want to run tank cars. I'm going refinery to fuel to oil well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I have the money. I'll make 9. We'll make this a 9-car train. Should be okay. May slow it down a little bit coming up and down hills, but overall, I think I'll be running pretty well for most of the route. So I have that built. Now it's going to start off coming this way. My trucks are already moving back and forth, so here we go. Still have $1 million left over in the bank. I want to run past this junction a couple times with the trains, make sure I don't have any problems that I built into my line without being aware of it. I think I have everything set up fine. And then I'm also going to want to probably before I build my next line into Norfolk. Nope. This train's running fine. Let's look at vehicle. Am I... Okay, well, train number 1 is at 35 years. When he upgrades, I'll put him over to the 260 Mogul. That's upcoming. So that'll probably be the very next thing I do is upgrade my original train line. And then I'll look to build into Norfolk. That's coming up. In the meantime, look, I've already got oil coming out of the well. I have 29 on board because my trucks generated demand. And were you aware of that? Have you noticed that? Does anybody in other tutorials mention that? If you have trucks generate the demand for the line, especially because this refinery is already up and active and running. I ran my train this way and there was already oil waiting for him. He didn't have to run a whole route empty before I had product waiting. My trucks generated demand, the oil pump turned the spigot on and started pumping out crude. Texas tea. So the engineers are going to wave at each other as they go by. Kind of disappointing that you can't crash trains like you could in Railroad Tycoon. I know it was a disaster when it happened, but it was kind of cool at the same time that the trains could actually collide. And in this game they don't. That's kind of boring. And because there's a little bit of fuel being generated from the other train, I actually have some product to run back this time. So that's cool. I get to come back with I'm about half full of fuel. So this in no way becomes a money loss as I start up because of the existing line already being there. It really helps soften the economic blow of having a train run empty. My train didn't have to run empty at all except to get to the oil well out of the depot. And that's really going to help me build up capital more quickly to get that line up and running into Norfolk, because that's going to be a really good money maker for me and I want to get it going. And then along with that, I want to get this bread line going over to over through my tunnel that I'll have, and servicing as fast as possible, put 2 trains on it and service these 2 towns. Between these 4 lines, I am going to explode my income earning. And that'll really give me a good boost on getting up there toward $1 billion by 2000. It's only 1886 right now. And I think by 1900 I'm going to be sitting. I'm not going to have everything, by no means will I have everything built and in place that I'm going to need to generate $1 billion. But I'm going to have an excellent foundation in place to continue the expansion of my empire towards that goal of making $1 billion by 2000. And so I'm about to hit this with 30 fuel to truck on down into Cleveland, the mistake by the lake. But there's no lake here, there's just a lake of sand. Sand everywhere we see. I wouldn't be surprised if I see somebody filming a remake of Lawrence Arabia out here somewhere. And really, for you European players who've never been to America, the desert Southwest is exactly that. It's huge tracts of, there is areas where as far as you can see there's sand. However, There's also a lot of areas where there's vegetation, there's smaller trees, and it's not just sand. There's grass, there's there's all kinds of other vegetation to look at. These graphics don't really do the desert justice. Although there are areas of certain deserts where there's no vegetation. If you're just like tooling down Interstate 40 and going close to the old route of Route 66 and stuff, there's a lot of smaller vegetation along the way and cactus and other things to look at. It'd be kind of cool if one of these maps added in saguaro cactus. That would be really neat. If any modder out there is watching this, that would be a cool addition to build a map that has saguaro cactuses on it. That would be pretty cool. So I'm up to 63 out of 63 out. This is pretty cool. In just a couple loops, I am full capacity. And I've been making money throughout. I haven't ever gone into a stage where I lost money except for that very short little leg to the oil well out of the depot. For that brief little period of time, I lost just a little money, but not much. That route right there, full capacity, $1.01 million just for that leg, and that's the power of the 260 mogul right there. We're talking power to pull and speed. Full, fast, big and long, folks. That's the way to go. Keep your wife happy, keep your train happy. Or your girlfriend. Or probably for some of you, your boyfriend. I'm very political in my private life, but when I'm online, I'm never going to tell you my political views because it really doesn't matter. And you know what? If I say I'm liberal or I say I'm conservative, then without even knowing me, having never met me or knowing anything about how I interact with people in real life, some of you will make judgments about me and decide not to watch me anymore simply because I said I was this or that. And that's retarded, but that's the way a lot of people are. So I may say some things that aren't PC here or there. The more astute of you will figure out what I think anyway because of what my background is. But I don't really care about politics when I'm playing games. Games are to have fun. And for the record, in real life, I'm a libertarian. I believe in the privacy of your house or in your own private life. Do what the hell you want. If other people don't like it, they should just leave you alone. Do whatever you want as long as it doesn't negatively impact somebody who doesn't want to have that influence exerted upon them. And as long as it's, in most cases, as long as it's legal, there are even some exceptions there. Because lots of parts of the world have some really weird rules. But I'm a libertarian. But I'm never going to tell you who I voted for in any election because it's guaranteed to piss half of you off. Gone are the days where people can have opposing views and still be nice to each other. Now if we have opposing views, we fight like cats and dogs. I much prefer the old days, where you could actually have an intelligent discussion with somebody who thought differently than you, for the simple reason that you end up educating each other, and if you approach it with a truly open mind, you end up each becoming better people and more understanding of those who think differently than you. But it's hard to do that anymore. And now what I'm going to do, I'll take one last trip back. I'm going to look at how my truck line's doing down here as far as pulling product off the line. I don't need line 4, goodbye line 4. And how we're servicing Cleveland's needs. I'm only up to 20%. And that'll increase with every new horse cart coming into Cleveland. So I know I have enough trucks right now for the route, because he just got all the way to the distal end, and I only have 3 product left. But what I really want to see before I eliminate any trucks off of here is when I get a whole 63 into town, how much of Cleveland's demand did I fill? And it looks like it's going to be around 60%, maybe tops. So I actually can add more cars to this train. I won't for now because I have bigger and better plans, and I'm already earning enough money that I can probably go in and build that next route. But I will break that up into a different segment so this doesn't get too long. I'm making money fast right now, and I want to spend it so I can make even more money even faster. When you're playing in hard mode, you want to be a greedy bastard. That's how you get to $1 billion. Probably a lot like real life. You don't do it by being easy on your opponents. In this case, no opponents other than time. Okay, so I'm on the split track here. I'm off on my own, going past the other station. I'll be here soon. Let's watch. I should be going downhill, so I won't really slow down here. As I come into the turn, I've been pulling 43. As a matter of fact, going downhill lets me hit full speed. Otherwise, it looked like I was running 42 to 43 miles an hour, which is cool. If I add a couple cars, I'll slow that top speed down just a little bit, but it won't be real bad. Here we come. So let's see how quickly I can get rid of these 63 fuels. And how much of the demand I meet in town by doing it. These four-horse teams can haul 5 at a time. A couple of my road vehicles are needing to be replaced. Okay, that's why. On line 1, I have automatic replacements already set up, as you can see by these 2 circular arrows chasing each other, arrow circles. That's lit up, so it tells me automatic replacements. On line 3, that's not the case. So let's go let them upgrade. Steam lorries will be coming out in a while. And when they do, I'll probably replace everything at once on all the lines, whether they're new or old, for the reasons I mentioned before. If I only replace half of them at a time, if I let automatic replacement go on, and they don't all change out at the same time, it bogs up the whole system, because I have 1 or 2 slow trucks slowing everything else down. Now, I think in all these cases I built all of them all at the same time, but I'm going to want the increased efficiency of the faster steam lorry anyway. So we're heading south. We're on the double track. We're down to 33. We got about half of the freight either delivered or en route to be delivery. I've sunk down to 33%. As I start bringing more product into town, that'll go back up again. And I'm really watching this right now. Now we're $1.1 million. Beautiful. We're more than halfway empty. I don't have any issue with that. My question is, I have too many trucks on the line. Do I want to take one off, or do I just want to let it ride there for a while? Add a couple cars. How many cars should I really add? And I'm watching this percent right here to try to get an idea of what I want to do. At the same time, with the 260 and I'm going up and down a little hill, do I want to really extend it out? And my answer there is yes. The 260 is strong enough to pull a much longer train. I may lose a couple miles an hour off top end, but the increased cargo will compensate for that, and I'll still get more money. It's not quite like the that little baby train in the beginning, that starter Baldwin, where you can overload it to where it messes you up, because it just can't huff and puff hard enough to really build up any speed. full and fast, big and long. You want to keep them fast, guys. Now there's not a direct reference to sex because you don't always want to go fast. It's between you and her or you and him. So we're almost back. He'll be pulling into the station here soon. Just got to go down the decline, around the bend, and all my product's gone. I only have one empty truck. Whoop, that one still had 3. Okay. Awesome. That's pretty much in sync right now. And I'm maxing out at 61%. Still a little bit more cargo coming here. I'm going to be between 60 and 70, so I'm going to shut this down. I think I can safely add probably 2 more, easily add 2 more tank cars and not have to make too many adjustments on the route. I won't oversaturate Cleveland. Probably add, if I'm only at 60, I could probably add 4 cars safely, but then I start stressing out my train. So when I get the next engine, I'll do that. Now when I come back, first thing I'll do is replace my train 1 because it's getting old, and I will build this big route from this oil well down to this refinery, truck into Norfolk and get that up and running. I already have 12.7 million, so I'm actually physically going to take another break from the game. I will save it and log off, and I will be back in a little bit.